Welcome to Van Tate's Sports Office, an in-depth look at the world of sports, featuring exclusive interviews with our KRQE News Sports Director, Van Tate, sponsored by Caesars Sportsbook at Route 66 Casino.
Sports Office talking about combat sports, and we're talking about fighting, and that means Austin Trout is here. Austin, and he's in the airport, man. Like, dude, you're on the move, huh?
You know, I don't like being home too long, but I always miss getting home.
So when you retire, part of your thing is going to be just staying in the bed, right?
Yeah,
roll over?
maybe. I think I'll get cabin fever.
Hey, so man, you know, we haven't caught up with you in a while, and I thought it would be good to talk to you and see what you got coming up. As a matter of fact, let's start with the high. What's next for you? I guess I need to ID you better. Talk about how you were the former WBA light middleweight champion, and how you're UFC, BKFC, that is, current welterweight champion. Austin, just give us some news on what you got coming up lately.
Yeah, man. I have a fight coming up December 5th. It's going to be a title eliminator shot. I am the 165 welterweight champion. That's not my weight class. I'm 155, 154 pounder. And I like to go back to manhandling those guys at 155. So I'm going down to 155 to get a belt in that weight class. So I can be a three-time two-sport, two-weight class champ. So,
oh, wow. So are you inspired by Terrence Crawford, man?
Big time, man. I definitely was living vicariously from Crawford.
Yeah. I'm sure you know him, since boxing is small circles, right?
Small circles, yes, sir.
So what do you, as far as going to get this belt in another weight class, do you feel like you'll be stronger going to that weight since you're stepping down in weight?
I think I'll be stronger and faster going down to that weight class. You know, I'm going to have to make that weight to get there. And to keep it a buck, I didn't have to train too hard to get to 165. So I didn't train too hard to get to 165. At 155, I'm going to be in tip-top shape because I got to do the most to get to that weight class.
That means you can't have that late night snack.
Starting now.
Starting now? Man, you're in the airport, man. You know, like, that's tempting, man. You be walking around places and you're trying to buy time.
I had a Caesar salad at the California Pizza Kitchen, so it wasn't that good, but see me trying.
Well, as far as the fight, like, give us the information. When is the fight? Where's it going to be at?
December 5th, Miami, Hard Rock Casino. It's going to be against Luis Palomino. My first rematch, actually, my professional career will be against Luis Palomino for the title eliminator, meaning I beat him, I fight for the belt next fight.
And so how many of these you think you got left in you, man? Like, I remember going back to your Olympic alternate days this is like a long time ago, man. Because I mean, this is the 90s, or when was this?
2004. So over 20 years ago.
And so how many of these you think you got left in you, man?
I don't know. You know, I think getting another belt is a good way to sail off in the sunset.
Yeah, so get another belt, and then would you go full time doing the boxing club thing that you've been doing? You know, where you're coaching your team.
Yeah, full time coaching, full time training. You know, even maybe managing some sort. Only if I can do the fighters right. You know, I'm not looking to manage anybody to get rich, because that means that's going to be on the back of somebody that doesn't deserve it. So, you know, I'm going to look into – I'm definitely going to stay around it, because it's going to be hard to walk all the way away from it.
And did you you have a gym at your home where you're living in Houston now, don't you?
Yes, sir. It's coming together. Houston Boxing at Champions Park. Should be opening up next month. I'm very excited for it. You know, it's going to be a center that people can just come, get in shape, get mental health, physical health, and spiritual health.
Yeah, talk about that, man. It's going to be a multi-layered situation. I remember the last time I was talking to you, you were talking about how things were going to be different as far as your wife, what she does, and how you emerge in that with your boxing.
And also, you know, she does public health. So we're going to figure out ways that the gym can serve as a public health center that's going to help the community. And the cool thing about that I'm learning from public health, really learning from her, is that little things go a long way. Just having a place to exercise for kids goes a long way. Sidewalks is a big deal.
Yeah.
People don't understand. Having sidewalks is a big deal as far as public health goes. So anything that my gym can do as far as being one of those little things that cause a big deal, I want it to be that.
And this is something that's kind of different. So do you anticipate maybe having multiple branches of that, maybe opening one in New Mexico?
Absolutely. So I was telling them, the name is Houston Boxing. And it could be the next LA Fitness, you know what I mean? Houston Boxing, New Mexico. Houston Boxing, LA. Houston Boxing, New York. Just because it says Houston Boxing doesn't mean it has to stay there. And I would love it. I'm working on bringing some camps to Las Cruces, New Mexico, especially during the summer, because the kids need something to do. And why don't I give them something to do? They like fighting anyway. Let's teach them how to fight.
You ain't lying, right? Hey, man. So what about like people who just want to stay in shape and all that? It sounds like it's going to be an all-encompassing place to work out. Like because some people don't know how to work out.
Exactly. They have no idea what to do, and they just need a little bit of guidance. And that little bit of guidance goes a long way.
Do you anticipate picking up some fighters along the way too? Like maybe how far is this thing going to branch?
As far as really these fighters want to take.
Well, it looks like you're getting in the plane, man. We're going to have to say goodbye because we're losing our signal. But thanks for coming on, man. Austin Trout, BKFC welterweight champion, a current champion, planning on going and getting another belt before he calls it a career. Also, the former WBA junior middleweight boxing champion. Of course, we have another guest lined up. You have to wait and see who that is on the other side. The conversation is just getting started. We have more on the other side. Welcome back, and we have another guest, Josh Torres. We call him the Pitbull. Of course, we're still on a combat theme, and we're talking about boxing. And Josh, you've been at this for a while now, man. How many years total have you been boxing?
I've been boxing for over 20 years already, believe it or not.
Yeah, because everybody in this state knows who you are because of the many fights you've had, and like you like to keep it real in the ring. And what's the latest? What you got coming up?
Well, we're hoping to fight before the end of the year for sure. I've had, of course, we all know the big fight at the Pit that got canceled.
Yeah.
That was a big letdown. I was super pumped to do that. That was going to be a big one. And then we were scheduled to fight again in August, and I fractured my ankle. Tough luck, just
doing
running.
What, man?
Doing my road work, man. Just running out in them South Valley streets. Hit a tiny little crack that I didn't see in the road, and it just enough to tweak it. I fractured my fibula, so that put me out for a few weeks. I was in a boot, canceled the fight, and now we're just back to the drawing board, back to training, and hoping to be back at it as soon as we can.
When that happened, man, were you just like, come on, man? Because the Pit thing went down, and then this happens.
Yeah, it's like tough luck. It's like when it rains, it pours, right? We're super excited to get back in the ring, and then as soon as we had that momentum going, we were training hard, taking on another tough opponent. He was an undefeated 15-0 Ukrainian fighter, and with all that momentum, and then to get sidelined, it was a bummer. But hopefully, as soon as we get something scheduled, we'll continue that momentum and keep going.
Well, speaking of momentum, there was a guy who is all about. He was all about momentum, and I'm talking about the late 5-time world champion Johnny Tapia, who's like your mentor. What did you learn from Johnny, man? Like, because he seemed like he took you under his wing as almost like his little brother.
He did, yeah. Johnny was like a big brother to me, and that's what a lot of people didn't realize. We were more than just fighter and trainer. I mean, we were boys. Yeah. We bonded on a different kind of level outside of boxing, and that's really what Johnny taught me more about. He taught me about life. Yeah. I mean, as a veteran fighter and an upcoming fighter, you're already set in most of your ways, right? You can sharpen tools and do things to better yourself, but most of it's already what you are and who you are. So Johnny was just about having fun. He was about being positive and doing it for the people. Johnny was the people's champ, and he taught me about that. He taught me about loving the sport and loving the city. Yeah,
man. Like a story about him. He came through here. We did a sports office with him back in the day, and there was a couple of people who met him for the first time, and then when he came back again months later, he remembered their names and they were just blown away.
Yeah. I seen it on the daily basis. People come up to him, people that he would tell me afterwards, like, I haven't seen him in years, but he knew about their family. He knew their cousins. And he'd ask about every single one of them, all the way down to their tias and their grandmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was cool like that.
Well, when you're, as far as we know what he brought to the ring, how much of that did he leave with you? And when you're in there, I'm sure you still get inspiration from him.
Oh, absolutely. I can still hear his voice, even in the gym and training, because I remember we'd be hitting the mitts, and there's even some old videos, I post them every once in a while on my Instagram where he's like, let's go, Josh. Let's go, Josh. And he's just pushing me to my potential. And I hear that, frequently as I'm needing that extra boost, right? Because like we talked about doing it for 20 years, you get that burnout, and you get those moments where you're like, man, am I still doing this? Yeah. And then it's times like that where I hear Johnny's voice say, you better get going, kick it to the next gear. So I hear his voice all the time.
There was one time in your career, and I'm drawing a blank on who you were fighting. You were fighting in Texas. This was a big fight, and you kind of mopped the guy up, and they gave him the decision. Do you recall that fight?
Yeah, I fought former world champion Mike Alvarado.
Okay. So going back to that fight, I mean, you were your bag in that fight, man. Like it wasn't that fight was not close. You did what you had to do. And were you taken off guard by when they came back with the decision? Were you just like, are you kidding me?
I really wasn't, Van, because I learned that at a real young stage of my career. Since the jump, I'd been taking risks. You don't see it a lot in professional boxing, especially now where young fighters take risks and they travel and they go to people's backyards. But I did that my third professional fight. Yeah. I was 2-0, fought a guy out in Phoenix, and I thought I did enough to win. And they gave it to him. That was my first pro loss. I was really devastated. So I knew from the jump that boxing could be a tough business and a tricky business. So when that happened, I think that was already something, not that I expected or that I wanted, but it wasn't something new to me. So after that, we jumped back in the gym and we got back to the grind.
I mean, I even think just the way it looked, like some of his people thought, ooh, he lost that fight.
Oh, he knew he lost that fight after. He went up to my dad and he said, that was a good win, Coach. You guys did good before they announced the win. So I think he knew it. His corner knew it. His corners were shouting at him to do something better. You got to, come back in this fight. So I think everybody there, and I still have to this day, that was, over almost 10 years ago that we fought.
Yeah, that was a while.
And to this day, I got fans out in Dallas that still hit me up. We still keep contact because they tell me all the time, you won that fight, Pitbull. And, you were the champ that night. So it feels good to know that the people know who won.
Do you ever think about that fight, though? Because that when we talk about trajectory, that fight, say you get the decision instead of it going, like home cooking to a guy who lost, what does that do for your career, man? Because that's when you were on the rise,
I try not to think about it too much because then I start overthinking because, I've had a lot of those moments where, man, what would have happened if I would have just done a little bit more or performed a little bit better and got that W? Where would I be now? But at the end of the day, I think things happen for a reason, right? Yeah. I'm a big believer in God and His plan. Yeah, so I try to trust the process. And, through this journey, all the years, all the fights that I've been through, I've had a great ride, man, and I've been enjoying it. And with a lot more in store, just see what else comes of it.
Speaking of fighting, if somebody look like they've been in a fight, you can get them right, man, on top of their head.
That's right.
You got those skills, man.
They catch you fade in the ring or out, man. Yeah, we'll be cutting hair. Mm-hmm.
How many years on that now, man? Because I know I be talking to guys like, yeah, man, Josh is gonna get me right,
So I've been cutting hair where I'm at now at Jake's 4th Street Barbershop for about 16 years already. So I've had my license for about that long. That's the only shop I've worked at. But I've been cutting hair for over 20 years. I was at Ernie Pyle in middle school. We'd be ditching class. I'd be giving fades in the empty classroom. So I've been cutting hair for a good minute. It's just something that I've always liked. Yeah. I never thought that I would do it as a career. It's just something I stumbled onto later on when I was fighting professionally, and I knew I needed to do something as a plan B.
Well, you got the fades, giving the fades, man. But Pitbull, they call you Pitbull. They don't call you Fade, man. Like if you were running back or something like that, Fade would be nice, because you disappear. They can't find you, So speaking of Pitbull, man, I know I've asked you this in the past, but how did you get that nickname again?
I got that nickname from my amateur trainer, Richard Maribal. And he rests in peace. He passed away, you know, a few years ago. But, yeah, he told me that I reminded him of a little pit bull going forward. I mean, I was the new guy on the block at the time, and he was throwing me in there with the dogs. He was throwing me in there in deep waters, and I would go in there, and I'd bang with the best of them, guys that had been fighting their entire lives since they were 4 or 5 years old, that had, you know, 50 fights at the time, and I had none. So he's like, you're my little pit bull. So at the time, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really like it. I was like, pit bull. Yeah. I'll probably change my name later on. And it ended up just sticking. It stuck with me, and now it's just a constant memory of all the things that Richard did for me and a way to, you know, continue his legacy as well.
Stay with us. More conversation on the other side.
We'll get back to the episode in a moment. Monica Wicki here, host of New Mexico Living. I wanted to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Route 66 Casino and Caesars Sportsbook. If you love sports and like having a little action on the game, Caesars Sportsbook is your go-to destination. For rewards and more info, go to Route66Casino.com. Now back to the episode.
Well, speaking of which, man, how many more fights do you got left in you, man? Because how old are you now, Josh?
I'm 35.
35. And so we know that you can go well into your 40s nowadays in boxing.
Right.
So what do you think?
I think I got at least a few more years in boxing. I mean, I feel young. I feel good. I don't have a ton of miles on me, even though I got a ton of fights. I feel like I haven't been in too many wars where I've taken a ton of punishment. So, I mean, I want to do at least, you know, a few more good fights in boxing. And then who knows, man? We had Austin Trout on earlier. Maybe I'll convert over and join the bare-knuckle side.
Oh, wow. You thinking about that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, Austin, man, he'll be a good guy to learn from, man, because he's been piecing people up in that thing.
Oh, yeah, Austin's a man in that side, man. So, I mean, boxers, we got them skills. We got those hands. So
I know, you know, I think there's and I go back and forth with people about this. I think the boxers and BKFC, they have the advantage because when you get pieced up, man, you can try to get somebody in a clinch, but it's not the same. Like if you get just leveled every time you try to make a spot. And you guys know how to just get out the way and pick your spots. And
oh, yeah.
I think you all have the advantage.
I think so too, man. But it takes a different kind of boxer. It can't just be any boxer. And Austin Trout is one of those boxers where he has a dog in him, right?
Yeah.
And most of us from New Mexico have that. So I think that's why I would have success in bare knuckle because I have a dog in me. And I started street fighting way before I started boxing. So, I mean, that's where it all started for me. So to transfer over to BKFC wouldn't be anything new to me.
This is a fight town, man. I think the first language should be just barking.
Right, that's right, yeah.
You see somebody, oh.
I tell you, I was at the Lobo Aggie game, and boy, I tell you, there's some scraps there, man. I'm like, oh yeah, you come to Albuquerque, they're gonna fight.
Yeah,
so it was crazy, man.
Yeah, this has always been a fight town, man. And BKFC, do they know that you have some interest?
So we've talked about it, yeah, and they're really interested. So I mean, we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure you will probably pick Austin's brain about sparing your hands.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because that's a different science to that, too, because you can just bust up your knuckles and all that stuff, and you have to be careful with all of that.
And that's my biggest concern, not taking the punches but giving them, right? I mean, these are my money makers in the ring and out, so I can't go back to work with casts on my hands, right, cutting hair with casts. So that's really, you know, a big factor, too, and why I'm being so patient with it. Otherwise, I might have already jumped in that squared circle and thrown some bare knuckle hands, but I'm being patient with it and going with the flow. Yeah,
because when I'm saying that you guys have the advantage, I mean you must be kind of like salivating, like ready to man, let's do this.
Oh yeah, and not only that, but I've trained bare knuckle fighters for the sport. I have my fighter Josh Moreno, who's now 3-0 with 3 knockouts.
Oh wow!
I helped prepare Diego for when he went up against Trout. So, I mean, I've seen the sport from the inside out, and I've been watching it, been studying it, and, so it's growing on us for sure.
And do you ever work with John Dodson also, or him, or?
Not personally, no, but, I mean, we know each other, and I see him, you know, in and out of the gym and stuff when I was training those guys.
When you look back on your career, what's the fight that comes in your mind as far as, man, that I gave it to him, that's my best fight?
Well, you know what, it's funny. When you ask me that, the first fight that comes to mind is the biggest fight of my career that never happened when I was going to fight Zab Judah in Vegas. This was back in 2015 as well. I mean, everybody was pumped. Former world champion, right? I mean, a future Hall of Famer, Zab
Yeah.
Judah.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally
I do
had
remember
my
that.
face,
I remember that.
Yeah, next to his on a poster on billboards in Las Vegas, walking down the strip. I mean, it was just a surreal moment. So to me, when you start asking about what's the craziest fight, like that's immediately what I think of.
And so that must have been a disappointment when it didn't go through.
It was, man. It was. And we're all out there already. I mean, I think this was March Madness, too, so half of Albuquerque was out there. We were literally walking down the street, and it felt like you were walking downtown in Albuquerque because everybody was coming up to me, hey,
Josh,
Pitbull, yeah, you got this, kick butt this weekend. And you know, we were super pumped, and it's unfortunate that it didn't happen.
As far as fights that did happen, and you look on your career, which do you have one that stands out where you're saying, like, man, I was in my bag that night?
Oh, I mean, I've had a few, man. I think one of my all-time favorite performances was when I fought at the Sleda Casino, the last fight that Johnny Tapia cornered me.
Okay.
And I fought Carlos Sanchez, a tough, hungry bull, man, who was just a come-forward fighter.
Yeah.
Gave a lot of people problems, and I knocked him out. I think it was like the second or third round, and I put him out cold. And it was just a memory that always sticks with me because that was a sellout crowd. It was packed. I mean, right here in my backyard, right by the Sal Valley, everybody there, all the family, all the friends. And yeah, it was Johnny picking me up at the end.
Yeah.
They came out in his documentary.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean,
okay.
that was just like, man.
That was
it.
it.
One-in-a-kind moment for sure.
All right. Well, hey, Josh, always fun having you on. We've run out of time, man. I'm going to have to come through and catch that fade, man.
Absolutely. You come and see me anytime. I'll tell you what, I knock out the competition, bro.
Yeah, there you go, man. Josh Pitbull Torres, thank you for your time. Fernando Perez behind controls. We'll see you guys next week.